Time now for the Sunday Roundtable, and joining us this morning are Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Patrick Griffin. Great to have you guys with us on this first Sunday of summer.
So you heard David Paleologos this morning. What's the biggest takeaway for you? Let's start with you, Pat.
I think that a couple of things. One, 49% of the voters surveyed believed Trump would be reelected, about half. A lot of times the way people believe is sometimes the way they act. It's still very real. I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that there's sort of, Joe Biden has a commanding lead over one piece of that party, but Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are fighting for another piece of that. That's very interesting. Also, 85% interest in this Democratic debate coming up. That's high intensity. That's going to mean a lot for all of these folks.
85%.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Marianne, what's your take?
I thought the most interesting question in that poll that he talked about was not the national issue, but the Senate race here in Massachusetts, where 44% of voters support Ed Markey and would vote for him, but 45% were undecided. And despite David Paleologos' analysis, that says to me, if anyone got into this race with any kind of name, Ed Markey would be in the fight of his life.
But didn't he say, what was it, 1 in 5 or 1 in 4?
1 in 4,
It was favorable.
Was favorable toward him.
But
Right.
compared to who? Right? You can say that
But
now.
that's an additional
if a Marty Walsh, Maura Healey, Joe Kennedy, anybody got into that race, he would be in trouble.
All right, so that brings us to the next topic. Looking at the local numbers, and you mentioned the two names I want to talk about now. Let me go to you, Marianne, first. What's your advice to Marty Walsh and Maura Healey based on these numbers you see right here?
Well, I mean, as you can see these numbers, I mean, when you go to the favorability rating, Marty Walsh has a 14-point advantage over Maura Healey, but when you put them one-on-one against each other, it's a dead heat.
Yeah.
So that says to me, any race they got into would be a dogfight. I do think little issues on some of the methodology here. I do think Maura Healey would have a bit of an advantage in the environment with women in particular that you can't see in this sample, but it would be a dogfight for sure.
But is it fair to say that they would need to cut a deal between the two of them and not run against each other? Is that what you're sort of suggesting?
Well, it's possible, but if they both got in, what a brawl.
Yes. I'm sorry, Patrick.
Just remember, the governor's seat is one thing. Marianne just mentioned the Senate seat.
Yeah.
I don't think the narrative is finished on Ed Markey, and I concur. Somebody is going to make a deal to run for one, somebody for the other. One more thing. I would be very careful to count Charlie Baker out for a third term. I know that's the conventional thinking. He's still the most popular governor in the country, in spite of some of the challenges he's had. Do not count Charlie Baker out. They're looking long and hard at
So
this.
one of those challenges would be the T. You don't think something like the T might...
Listen, the T is a problem. We talked about this last week. Every time, this happens, you got to stand up there and explain why you own something that you can't fix. We'll talk about it in a second, but I don't think that sticks.
So as you were saying, the truce between Governor Baker and Mayor Walsh is now over, and it's the MBTA, as you mentioned, that sort of derailed their political bromance. Baker, okay with the upcoming fare hike. Here's Walsh's response.
There's no reason why they can't hold it. I know they're talking about equipment and it's already programmed in the computer. Change it, and change it now for people so people have adequate service. It's that simple. It's not that complicated.
So who's going to win this one and how, Marianne?
Marty Walsh wins this fight every single day because Charlie Baker is rounding the curve into this problem. Year 6 now we're going into, and he owns it. And the only way he fixes it is to fix the T and have the trains run on time. That's not going to happen. Marty Walsh is going to hit him every single day and win that fight every single day.
Do you think there's going to be a fare hike as is expected to go into effect on July 1st?
I don't know whether it will go into effect or not. I think it probably will. I also think, listen, as a fan of Mayor Walsh's, this is hardly an example of a political profile in courage. This is an easy political hit for Walsh against the governor. The bromance is hurt. I don't think it's hurt, forever. But I think at the end of the day here, 75 years of neglect, as I said last week, does not get fixed in 1 or 2 terms by one governor. Mm-hmm. And the old switches, the old changes, the old cars are being replaced. It's a hard thing to defend politically, but political cheap shots, that's no way to make your inroads for Mayor Walsh.
Two things. One, you can have all the new cars in the world, but if they don't run and they're not on the tracks and you can't do the switches and the computers, then it doesn't matter, number one. Number two, the vast majority of people who are affected by this either live in Boston or work in Boston, and Marty Walsh has the absolute right to fight this every single day.
But Marianne, let me ask you this. Some of these were clearly equipment problems, right? We know that. Some of them were operator problems. Are you going to attack the Carmen's Union next? I mean, you can't blame all of this on the governor. Some of these were operator errors, right?
Well, He's in charge. The buck stops with Charlie
Yeah,
Baker.
but at the end
He
of
owns
the day,
it.
what do you do about
He
that? Do you
owns it.
fire the Carmen?
He was hired.
and replace them?
The reason everybody wanted him and likes him is because he's Mr. Fix It. Fix it.
And it's the reason they still like
Fix
him.
it.
He's still the most popular governor in the country.
Today.
Watch him run for re-election.
Today. He probably will.
You're not done, are you?
I'm done.
I'm
I'm done.
enjoying it.
Let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
Very good. That was good.